Hey, what's up, Facebook, YouTube? What's up, Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's, Brooklyn Park, Egan, and Richfield, wherever you're watching that. If you're watching somewhere out that's out of the state, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Truth to the People as we continue the stream of message, talking about things that's going to make the ADOS community better, the African American descendant of slave. We continue to do this show, and we're going to talk about a variety of topics on this show, from violence to business development, to economic development, housing, to education, and so that's what we do with this show, and that's what I'll do today. We'll have a guest. Our guest will be the chair of the Minneapolis School Board, Kim Ellison. She'll come on at the half hour mark at 7. So this show is going to be from 6:30 to 8 every Tuesday. Then we're going to try to get you new information as we doing this. Continue to talk about information and how we can do better as a community, as a people, as we are moving through this process. So I always like to start off and call it my opening, talking about it, and talking about you know, talking about what we are trying to do here. Then somebody, one of the producers, was asking me something. What? 251-8838. Yeah, they, I can put you live there, but yeah, yeah. So we're gonna have a conversation about education, and I want to continue to talk about the violence, what's happening in our community in Minnesota and Minneapolis. I always like to start off with my brother George Floyd, because they're gonna forget him in a minute. They done picked up all the funds they can pick up off them, and then they go to the next thing. And like I said, when we just had Amir Locke get killed by law enforcement, but we always talk about the other people that's losing their life, whether it's by law enforcement or at the hands of other people, particularly in our community. So that's what we have to figure out. I keep saying we got to figure out how we going to deal with law enforcement in the ADOS community, which they have historically traumatized our community. But we're the only ones can really talk about it. Us and the Native Americans have been treated like this since we were brought over here in slavery, and that's where the patty rollers came by to chase down black people. And I think they still got that notion that they are chasing somebody that ain't supposed to be here when we the one built the country. So I try to keep talking about it, keep having conversation, keep trying to ask us, how do we get there? How do we build the relationship with somebody that historically hated you and didn't know why they was hating you? Just knew they had to do things to you that they didn't do to any other group, any other nationality, just the ADOS community. So, and my work now is to continue to try to build and develop that relationship. That's why I'm a part of the Unity Community Mediation Team, which consists of all diverse groups and background, from Native American to Latino to East African to GLBT, until you get to the white community and African American. We're all there, but at the same time, I always say we don't have the same issue. The Somali community don't have issues with police brutality happening to them. The Latino community don't have the issues. What talking to them when you talk to those community, they more in the East African. They talking about terrorism and things like that, and the Latino talking about ID cards, and we talking about just not getting beat to death. And people don't understand that that this is where we're at as a community. That we trying to just save our people. We trying to save our community. And how do we do it? How do we save our community? And that's by us working together and being transparent to what's going on. And that's why I continue to argue about gimmicks, trickery that government tries to do. They, especially here in Minneapolis, I always talk about. I've been talking about on my radio show every Sunday on KMOJ at 1 o'clock. And I've been talking about what they are doing and how the city or the county or the state, they know how to play like they're doing something, but they're really not. And they might spend $4 or $5 million on playing like they're doing something about saving us from the violence that we are in. They now say they play it. When I talk about the Office of Violence Prevention, which is one of the big ones up here, where they're spending a lot of money on interrupters, a program that ain't interrupting nothing. It's just something to say they're doing. And then, but when they do that, and this ain't nothing to do with the brothers or sisters working for this project, because they got to eat too. I understand them taking care of their family, but you can't take care of your family and then they really not trying to do nothing because you're sacrificing a lot of more people. You sacrificing a lot, and then it becomes the money game. Everybody should get paid. If you're doing work, everybody should get paid. But the city should not be allowed to run a program that they know it's going to be ineffective, and then they tell you got to wait 3 years to get results. By that time, we would have lost hundreds of people to gun violence. We can't afford that. We got to be monitored every 3 6 months. Where are we at? What's the area where it's happening at? So we can get to it. So we can make those things happen. But when you got something like GBI, that's a program they had before they come up with the interrupters and Office of Violence Prevention. They had GBI. They did that for 4 or 5 years with no results. They didn't. They talk about how many contacts they made. Well, they should have made contact because they was working with probation, the police, and everything. They should have had, and we should have did better. But what's the results of it? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So your GBI did 4 years. It had a 4 year run, and before that, the action of the blueprint action for violence that they had before that, they ran that about 8 years, and didn't get nothing done. The Justice Department came into the city of Minneapolis and gave them a clean bill of health just 4 or 5 years ago. They gave them a clean bill of health. So what that means, the Justice Department didn't help us, and everybody signed off on it. But we were still fighting it. We were still fighting it, and we still fighting right now. And we can't stop. We can't give up on what we're doing because we're going to be the ones that lose. We'll be the one that lose in the ADOS community. We'll be the one that lose. That's why we can't afford it. We have to do these things, and I'm bringing it publicly. I'm trying to give another way to get information out to our community, and that's by doing this show, Truth to the People, and try to bring more young people. The first show I had Mark Anderson of the Barbara Snyder Foundation that deals with trauma, and then I had other young people on here like Al Jr. and Miles Wilson and Nick Martin, and I think Anthony McMorris. These are young people that's out there fighting every day to see how we gonna get something done, and it's hard on them when somebody like they doing this work, and then somebody like Amir Locke is up killed while you doing the work. That's tough on them. And when I say young people, because I'm talking about they 30 and under, and they deal with the kids of 14 and up. because I'm not going to deal with those 14, 15-year-old. Somebody got to do it. It won't be me, but because they not far removed from knowing what these young kids are doing, and they fast now. These kids are fast. They learning fast. They are getting things, making things happen, using the technology, and that's what we'll talk to some of the things with Chair and Ellison about. Is what can we do? How do we come together? We got a lot to talk to her about. So stay tuned at 7 o'clock because she'll be in with us to talk about it. So but that's what I'm talking about. So when we talk about public safety, we talk about reform and we talking about accountability within our community. We talking about both of them. So we can't talk about accountability in our community and not talk about police reform. We can't talk about police reform and not talk about accountability because we the one suffers from that. We the one suffers. So we have to push the agenda and like we never had before, but we got to push it now with the young people. That's the AJs of the world, the Mal Wilson of the world, and some of these other young talents that's out there and just need a little nudge. They don't need it ain't like they're gonna know everything, but they need a little nudge and to say, hey, what you need from us, what you need from us. Just like when they talk to the younger kids, the 14, 15-year-old, when they talking to them, what do you need from them? They'll ask them what the kids, what you need from us, and then they can relay that message back much better. They can do it much better. So we got a police reform and public safety accountability. We have to do it, and we can't be with the gimmicks and tricks that they are doing. And that's what the Office of Violence Prevention was a gimmick discovered by the late, not the late, but the former council member Cunningham. But that was to strip law enforcement down. But they didn't have a plan once they stripped them down. Taking things away like the PAL program. What the PAL program have to do with anything? And then what they were talking about when they were doing that, they were talking about community-based solutions. Community-based solutions, and that's what we do. We try to work with our community, and then but we got some renegades out there that go out there and like I keep saying, they wait on the police to kill somebody so they can be relevant. So they can be relevant. They ain't relevant unless the police kill somebody. We need to be relevant when the police kill somebody, but also when we do it. And those are things we got to continue to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about on this Truth to the People show. And I'm going to try to bring guests in that can help me deliver the message. I'll be reaching out to all of them, whether it's Louis King at Summit, Mike Wynn at Emerge, Stephen Belton at the president of the Urban League, people like that know what we need, and then to get the people to join in and be a part of it. And that's how we got to do this. We must collaborate. We must collaborate. We can't be foolish in saying what we don't need, and particularly on law enforcement. And then when somebody get killed, we telling them you better go arrest them. So we got to figure out that medium, particularly African Americans, ADOS people. This Native Americans. This is what mediation is all about. What you did to us, as Clyde Belcourt, the late Clyde Belcourt would say, or the late Ron Edwards would say. We know what they doing to us, but when you get to the table and the different people there, they got different issues. Whether it's like I said earlier, whether it's the Somali, they talking about terrorism. Oh, okay. Well, we trying to stop that in our community. They talking about in Somalia. When you talk about ID, yeah, well, okay, then we ain't got no problem with ID, but it can suck up a lot of energy and and that's why. But we want to help them fight for those issues too. But we want to fight for our humanity. We want to fight for our humanity, not nothing else. Just our humanity. We have to do that. Nobody's gonna save us. Nobody's gonna save us as we're doing going through this venture. No, we when I talk about the Young People Task Force on Mediation and the hard time that they go through, you wouldn't believe some of the things that people don't want that young talent to come up. And I got to say, no, you got to let them come up because you ain't doing nothing, and I'm tired. I'm tired of just going through saying that when I talk about the, because I'm the only one gonna say it. When I talk about the Office of Violence Prevention, it's a joke, and they got groups in there that and them groups they can't say nothing to them. They just got to go along with the plan so they can get paid because they can't interrupt. I don't care. They'll have 20 deep, 20 people, and they ain't gonna do nothing. I started to say shit. But they can have 20 people. That ain't what we need right now. We need to connect with our community. We need to connect with our people. So what they do at the Office of Violence Prevention, they dumping 400,000-500,000 out to groups at a time, and then you say where are they at, and then nobody knows. I know where one at. We work with one where we push for peace. We work with them. They working with them. But the rest of them, I don't know. We don't know nothing about it. They got people from St. Paul and all that, and they was crying saying, don't hurt the sister. She from Chicago. Who is she? You know her. You should if you know somebody that's doing it, then bring it on so we can put it. We could talk about it. We could talk about what you're doing, and they'll tell you, no, we ain't doing nothing. We can't work with the police. We don't want to be involved. That's the way the model is. Well, that's a clear model to get us effed up. That's a clear model that when you saying that, because you can't build a, hey, you can't. What you gonna do when they carjacking and robbing and all that stuff? You can't. You ain't finna do nothing. No group should be in that lane trying to do nothing about that. That takes law enforcement. So while they saying it until they get their carjacked, then this is how they play it. This is how they play it until they get their carjacked. But it's so many people have been carjacked and pistol whooped and about somebody else's car, and that's why I'm glad they're passing a bill. They're trying to pass a bill now to say if somebody steal your car, you can call law enforcement, and then you can have them GPS your car. That's going to cut down a lot. That's going to cut down a lot because that has cut down the high speed chases because people will be going after. You ain't got to go after them. Soon they park your car. That GPS can track it down, and then they'll have you. Then they'll have you. So I suggest everybody in that bill should pass everywhere because they don't nobody want their car stolen or be carjacked. So that's a bill over there saying that if you give them permission, they can GPS your car and go right to it. So that's one up for the citizens and one down for the criminals because you look out because you're gonna get caught up. But they let them out of jail so fast. You could do anything. You can steal a car and get right out of there. So we got to do something about that. We got to believe in public safety ourselves. We have to make ourselves the one safe. We have to make ourselves the one safe, and so that's what we are trying to do. We trying to talk about it. We trying to put these things in place, and that's what we're gonna do. We are gonna do it, and we're gonna win, and we will win this battle of nutrition, particularly with our community, to stand up and fight this all the way through and fight with dignity and pride. Have a little pride, have a little dignity about what we are doing, what we're trying to do. We got to have some. We got to feel for ourselves. We got to show love to each other. As we go into other things we'll talk about is like Juneteenth. Juneteenth is coming up. It's a national holiday. Some people say they want to treat it like the 4th of July because that's the last day the last slaves was free. Where it doesn't matter. One thing which should do is talk about it and talk about why this is happening in our community. And when we talk about Juneteenth, really explain to people, no, that was them was some hard time with a slave those last slaves didn't even know they was free. And so they worked a little extra time and nobody told them, no, no, you're free. And that's what Juneteenth is about. That's being a part of that. We want to change things. We want to change the narrative. We want to put you in power. We want to put you in power about your own destiny. But you can't put yourself in power if you don't deal with the fact that you got some members killing in our own community. That's killing in our own community. So that's what I'm about. I'm about talking about what we can do to win, and then telling the people this is what we're doing. You know, we got to tell, especially if you're working for government or you getting resources from government, you got to tell the people. A lot of the activists now are sitting there. They join the NAACP to raise their profile. It's one of them things now. It's Facebook, social media. They do so many crazy things, and then I just look at them because it's all a gimmick. And then you'll see them next week. They'll be in Jamaica or Hawaii. Or ain't nothing wrong with you taking a trip. But when you taking a trip like that off the back of what we're going through, it's kind of tough on me. It's kind of tough because I watch people do this work for almost all their life. Clyde Belcourt, Ron Edwards, Spike Moss. I watched them do this work forever, and it don't pay you good. It don't pay you good to do this work to fight for your people because you got some of your people that's going after you. That's going after you and which ain't okay. And that's happened several times. Whether we was talking about CSI trying to get into school, and then we had 9 African American women working inside the school, and who attacked the project are African American. And then I didn't know why is you attacking? And then found out they thought all the resources that came to me, so they thought I had 300,000 or 400,000. If I would have had that, I would have went to Jamaica or Hawaii somewhere. It didn't happen. It didn't happen, and those are kind of things we go to damaging each other. You know, that's what we do to each other, to damage each other, and that's why we got to keep talking about it. That's why this show is critically important, not just for Minneapolis and Minnesota and Brooklyn and Richfield, but it's important for us as a people to talk and be honest about where we at. You know, we can't. We the ones sitting on. They can't even have a funeral no more. These people are shooting up the funeral. That's why they have no respect for the churches. But that had a lot. Some of that had to do with the way they think about the church, but a lot of it had to do about these progressive that came out with the Black Lives Matter movement and said playing like it was ours, and it really wasn't. It was a GLBTQ community movement. But they, you know, who don't use ADOS people, who don't use us to get where they going, no matter what race you are, who don't play like they need us until they get in trouble, until they when they get in trouble, and you know, like East African brothers and sisters, 245 million in fraud and food taking Feed Now Future. Look it up, Feed Now Future. They spent 245 million in 3 years, all doing the George Floyd thing. So while everybody was going to court, watching George, Al Sharpton, and Ben Crump was coming up with their suitcases, taking all resources they could out of here, disrespecting the black pastors, disrespecting the black lawyers in Minnesota, and then go get a white guy to work with them to get money off whether it's George Floyd, Dante Wright, and now Amir Locke. They cleaning up. They'll end up with they could end up with maybe $20 million since George Floyd died, coming out of the taxpayer dollars in Minneapolis. And then they come up here and try to keep you riled up. Stay riled up, baby, till we get our check. No, not here. Not here. I didn't go to the I had tickets to go to George Floyd's funeral. Once I went down there, seen it was gonna be a circus, I left. And gave the ticket to somebody else, say you can go to that. I'm not one of them people. The rest when they moved and they moved a funeral, it was gonna be at New Salem Church, and then they took it to Bishop Howell, which wasn't nothing wrong with that. You could take it there, but that's how they because they wanted the big screen so Al can put it on MSNBC. But the last funeral he came to, they didn't hardly cover it at all because they see the game. It's a gimmick. We're not getting nothing out of that. I keep saying, why don't Al Sharpton and them put something in it, so we can help with the youth center. They should put some of that money back because they're not going to court. Ain't no cases in court. There's no cases in court, and so that's what I'm talking about. So that's why I'm going to keep talking about education and things like that. To keep us moving, so to keep us moving and we got to talk about it all. But if you want to hear something, you'll hear it right here with Al Flowers, Truth to the People, or you can tune in every Sunday at 89.9, the top black radio station in the state of Minnesota, KMOJ, the People Station, and that's what we do there. I continue to tell truth to the people. I don't have to lie. Why would I lie about what's going on? You get lied to enough. So I'm gonna have a guest, and I'm gonna ask the producer to put up a screen, and then I'll be back in 2 minutes, and we'll be talking about education. So that's what we'll do if and then we'll come. Hey, welcome back to Truth to the People with Al Flowers, and like I said, we'll be talking about education and just different things on this show. What'll make us better? What'll make us better in this situation? And then I think I have our school board chair in Minneapolis. Do we have a ready Tone? Kim, are you there? So I'm just waiting on our guests to come on. We're going to talk. Today is education. Tomorrow is public safety. The next day is about housing. We go through. We just going through a lot, and I just want us to be educated. You remember the thing, the miseducation of the Negro, and we just can't have that now. And I think my guest is gonna come in a minute, and we'll talk about things what we can do to make our kids better. So Do we have Kim with us? Uh,
I can,
Yes.
can you, hello?
Hey, Kim. To this, I can hear you now. And just to the people out there, this is like the second show we did. So we are still working on miracles, and we got this miracle going because we got our school board chair, Kim Ellison, on the line. First, Kim, welcome to our show, Truth to the People, a live broadcast we do every Tuesday. Kim, can you just tell them who you are, and then we'll get into some conversation after that.
Sure. Kim Ellison. I chair of Minneapolis School Board.
And Kim, I was just talking about it. I was just talking about what we are doing, and let's talk about it. And the one thing I know everybody that you can't talk about, that y'all are it could be a strike in Minneapolis, but I know you can't talk much about it. But give us a little indicator of what we should families should be prepared for if that happens.
Sure. We teachers took a vote and overwhelmingly agreed that that things aren't going well for them at the negotiation table. We're currently negotiating the contract for the teachers and the ESPs, and have decided that they need to walk out, that they want to strike. They set that date for next Tuesday, October 8th. And so we've got all week to try to come to an agreement to stop the teachers from walking out.
And then one of the things and we talked about, because this is the time, this is tournament time for the kids, and they are you still they are still that's still gonna go on, where the kids will play basketball and whatever sports activity going on while this is happening.
Yes, we're working on making sure that the sports continue after school, is able to continue their practices and their competitions, because we do know that this is an important time for competition.
And Kim, if I can ask you, go to the just go to, let's hope the kids get to play. Let's hope it don't be a strike. But
Right.
if it is a strike, then what happens with the kids, Kim? What they just do they get to do distance learning, or what happens there? Just everything shuts down.
Well, no, our buildings will close. There will be no learning going on because the teachers will not be available for instruction. I was on the phone with some people today to see if we could have organizations, YMCA's, churches in community, open their doors and provide just like after school type programming. And then if the teachers do walk out and there is no school, we do not have any extra days in our calendar. So we will have to add those days at the end of the school year. So the school year will be extended.
And Chairman Ellison, what concerns you without getting into, I know y'all in negotiation, but what concerns you right now? It's particularly because we've been going through we done been through this pandemic. We done been through so much with COVID and our learning. But what is it that what concerns you right now, and what can you besides you said about the why and churches being involved? What concerns you the most as the board chair?
What concerns me is like you said, the students have been going through so much with COVID. They've been quarantined. I mean, out of the building for days, almost a month. I think I heard today that one student was quarantined 4 times. And at one point, we were quarantining folks for 10 days. That's 40 days that he was not in school, that the student was not in school. So the learning has been disrupted. That's my biggest concern, is where do we pick up that instruction, that type of learning for our students? Some of the other things is the socialization as well. This is one place where students get to be among others their age with adults, where they learn how to act appropriately, grow up, learn different things from different points of views. And if they're not in school, they don't have access to that. And so it's been a rough 2 years for our students, but it's also been a rough 2 years for our staff, who I think have just had it, and which is one of the reasons I believe they've said, we cannot continue this way. I've talked to the union, and we don't disagree. The district, the board, the teachers, the union, we don't disagree on the values. Yes, staff should be paid appropriately. Yes, mental health needs to be provided for students as well as staff. The problem comes in, yes, students need to be in smaller class sizes. Teachers need to have fewer students that they need to deal with in terms of caseload. The paperwork that some of our staff need to fill out is enormous, and that needs to be manageable. The problem is the state has not included an increased funding for a number of years, not increased funding to keep up with the cost of inflation. So
And Chairman Ellington, when you talk about it, because when I'm talking to people, they say, they think the state got a $9 billion surplus, and they don't understand that, first of all, that's short-term funding, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about now. Can you say why?
yeah, I don't have access to the funds until the state legislature allocates money to school districts. So yes, the state has a big fund of money, a surplus that seems to be enormous in my eyes. But they need to decide how they want to spend that money. And I guess the Republicans in the state House and Senate want to do tax breaks. But until they can agree that we're going to spend this money on children, on counseling, on schools, there's no way for me to access that money.
But even Director Ellison, Chairman Ellison, even if this is a short term, this is a short term fix. It has nothing to do with like what the teachers are asking for, because they could, if you are if you approve something that you can't pay for a few years down the road, it would really it looks like that would really handicap the district, or and could cause more trouble later. Am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're absolutely right. If we say we're going to increase salaries, then that's something we need to be able to pay year after year after year. If we get one-time money from the state or one-time money from the federal government, like we did with the ESSER funds, we could pay for that this year, maybe next year. But 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we will be looking at a huge budget deficit that we will not be able to overcome.
Wow, and I just want to. Oh, I got it back. Kim, are you still there?
I'm still here, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. We had a little technical difficulties. Like I said, we'll probably have that going to this show, and we were just talking about the kids and what's gonna happen to them. I hope you just a recap. Director Ellison, chairman of the school board in Minneapolis, said that they were reaching out to the Y and to the churches and different areas to see what we can do. See what we can do. So that's what we're talking about, and we'll put this back together. But Kim, I had a few more questions about talking about our kids. One thing about you, Kim, you were a teacher before you got on the school board, and so let's go to what would you tell parents to do if this strike occurs on Tuesday? What would you tell parents to do to try to keep up with keep their kids in some kind of learning mode?
I'd say be patient with the children. Um, I know parents will be frustrated. Your child is going to be frustrated as well. They want to be with their friends. Um, we are trying to, I don't know which resources, what, if there are any phone numbers that people will be able to call. But like I said, we're working with organizations in the community to help keep students engaged or watched if parents can't leave them home and they're too young to be by themselves at home, and just read to them. One thing I really enjoyed doing when my children were growing up was reading. I did a lot of reading to my students when I was a teacher, and and it's a way of going places without leaving your house.
And Tim Ellison, we talked a long time ago. I bet you it was maybe over 5 years ago that we talked about technology and the effect it's having on the kids because they got so much more to do than when we were growing up. That they've got so many other tools. And talk about that the modern technology and what we in the education of our kids. Is it good or is it bad?
I can't say whether it's good or bad. What I can say is um, my children have access to a lot more information than I did at their age. Um, and my children are probably have already graduated from high school and college, and children today in school probably have more access than my children even had at the time. It's important. One thing that was important to me when I was teaching, cell phones, smartphones had just come on the market, and some of my students had them. And it's not a bad thing. We can use, we don't, I never wanted to act as if a phone, which increases connectivity for students outside of their neighborhood, was necessarily a bad thing to have. But you might need to watch, what is being watched on their phones or connected with on their phones, and just make sure it's being used in a healthy way that's not harmful to children.
And and and, uh, and then the other subject I want to make sure that we touch on as we put this show together was about the trauma that's going in. And for those out there listening, you joined Al Flowers with Truth to the People, and we're talking to our school board chair, Kim Ellison, and we've talked about the strike and other things in here. So, but one of the things I want to talk about, Director, is that the trauma of how do Minneapolis deal with trauma? They deal with more than any other school district. I think in the state. No matter whether it's Minneapolis or St. Paul, but St. Paul does too. But how do we deal with the trauma of what our kids going? So we had these 2 years of COVID, and then the things that's happening in between there. How do we as a community come together for these kids and deal with the trauma that they are experiencing almost every day?
Yeah, I mean, we did not just have COVID, as you know. We also went through this racial reckoning throughout our country, and then, but especially here in Minneapolis. Um, know that the school district recognized um, how that was affecting children, and we make sure that there are counseling services in every school building. That's new from the last 2 years, but every school building has access to counseling services for children. Um, and then at home, I would say just let your child talk about how they're feeling, without making them feel bad about it. And if it's something for me, if it was something that I didn't think that I could deal with, I would make sure that I could find somebody who could help my child deal with whatever it is that they were dealing with. But I think it's important for them to feel safe and comfortable in talking about the issues that they're dealing with right now.
And I would say that too. We have to figure out ways because some of these younger kids. I'm really concerned about the younger kids that really don't know how to deal with some of the trauma, especially the violence. How they deal with that, and what can we do as people? Because sometimes we end up arguing and fighting about things that really don't mean nothing to the kids, right, Kim? You know,
Right.
it doesn't mean nothing. And how do we get away from that?
I For me, I always try to see it through the child's eyes. If I'm, like you said, if I'm arguing about something, does that child see me as trying to make a point, or do they see me as angry? Am I scaring them with how I'm exhibiting my anger or argument? Um, and just be patient and kind. But one thing I do know about children is they're resilient. So also make space for them to grow.
And I believe that too. I just want whatever we do, let's come together and do it and not make it a fight, especially about education. Kim, that's one that I don't never get. How do we argue about that? Which one, what's good and what's bad? We didn't have those problems years ago. It was just about going to school and get your education. And now I think more kids are getting tied up into the political part. And when you're in high school, it's all right. But how do the grown-ups help the kids navigate through some of the turmoil that we going through politically? And they watching it, they see it on the news, they see all this stuff when we talk about violence, whether the police is shooting and killing somebody, or we killing somebody. They have to see that every day when we didn't have to do that.
Right. Like we said earlier, children have access to way more information than we did when we were their age. I just saw I guess the State of the Union, the President of the United States is giving a State of the Union address tonight, and I saw a piece on the news today about how the State of the Union has changed. And it was shortly before my lifetime, but within lifetime, that it was even broadcast. If you wanted to hear the State of the Union by the president, you needed to be at the White House to hear what the president was saying, because it wasn't on the radio, it wasn't on the news, but now it is, and along with a lot of other things, what's going on in the neighborhood, what's going on at police stations. We have shows that are real life
Mhm.
action that students are seeing, that children are seeing every day, that we didn't have to experience at their age. And so, like I said, let them talk about, ask them, how do you feel about this? Um, Limit some of if you feel, you have that relationship with your child, limit some of the information that they're taking in. But at the very least, talk about what it is that they're seeing and hearing.
And when and I say that because and then you brought the State of the Union up, and I know what's going to be one of the main topics is what's happening over in Ukraine with the Russian and them invading a country. These are historical moments. If, as a teacher, how would you teach how would you teach kids about this? What's going on that they don't understand? It's not okay. What's happening without as a school board, you can't get too deep in it. But how do you tell them this is a part of their history?
Yeah,
COVID is a part of their history. All these things are a part of history. What they're going through, and now they're watching a war on live TV
right.
of violence. And what's your take on that, and how we get through that, the trauma of that?
Yeah, it's traumatic. And it's real life and it's happening in real time. I don't have an opportunity to go back and correct something that I just saw. It's not a play. It's not a movie. It's real. Depending on the age of the child, I might do something like, well, what's a situation where you had a disagreement with somebody, and kind of talk through how could we resolve that disagreement in nonviolent, in safer ways, and then blow it up. Well, how do you think these countries then can do something where they can resolve disagreements without killing people? It's for me, it's about conflict resolution. Um, how do you make something accessible to this, so you feel like I have control over this? And while I don't have control over what's going on in Ukraine with Russia invading the city, the country, there are times that there's things I can learn from that. So I'm not just sitting watching this very traumatic action take place.
And
I feel more in control.
Director, one of the things we've been working on with yourself and people like Dr. Hightower and the Young People Task Force about this youth center. That's why it could be even more important now. That would have been a nice thing to have already in place, where we would have knew where we can send the kids besides the Y and looking for churches. Why is it important that you're supporting the Young People Task Force and the community on trying to really make something happen, a youth center happen in North Minneapolis, where you raise your kids?
Yes, love North Minneapolis. So it's different levels. First of all, I appreciate the Young People's Task Force coming up with the solution. I might not know everything that our youth are going through in this new generation, but our younger kids do. And the youngest children, sometimes, I'm too old for a child to listen to. They're like, oh, they don't know what's going on. So they kind of like to be led by people closer to their age, but older than them, but closer to their age. That's important. And then just to be able to have some place where children of like mind, you come from the same neighborhood, you're around the same age, you have some place to go that is safe and welcoming, is important. And so I'm excited about seeing how this progresses and being a part of making sure it happens.
And so as we running on the last few minutes, Chairman Ellison, and let me say, she is a fighter for the community. She's been doing that. Her family has been working in this area of helping the community for many years here in Minneapolis, and that's why I'm so proud to have her on, and hope to have her on a lot to talk about education, be one of our key guests, and she's also a part. Kim, can you talk about the committee y'all have of Black educators, Black school board members? Can you talk to us about that and what y'all doing there?
Sure. The state is becoming much more diverse than it has been in the past. And there is an organization, Minnesota School Board Association, that's a statewide organization that does lobbying on behalf of school districts at the state legislature. But we come together every year at a conference once a year and realized that there were people of color in districts where they were the only person of color and had issues that needed to be addressed, but didn't know how to necessarily approach or begin having the conversation with their community. And so we started a school board directors of color. It was started by two members, Abdi Sabri from Mankato and Helen Bassett from Robbinsdale. And it's the Minnesota School Board Directors of Color, an Indigenous Fellowship Group. And we've been meeting throughout this with Zoom now. We can come together much more often than once a year at the state conference. And it's just a way of supporting each other in terms of the diversity issues that are happening throughout our state that in the past only happened in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So it's been wonderful to be able to hear that you're not alone in what you're doing.
And Director Ellison, what I remember years ago there was always just one person of color even on Minneapolis School Board. They got much more now, much more diversity now. Can you say how many school board directors there are across the state now? Of color.
Directors of color. I want to say we're looking at maybe close to 40, 50 just school board directors. And this is a guess. I'm trying to picture like the Zoom meetings. How many screens did I have to have open to see everybody? But we're getting up there to like 40.
Oh, that's a great thing. Well, with Kim, I sure look forward to continuing this show. I know we ain't gonna continue to have technical difficulties because we figured it out real quick. But I'm glad you stayed on with us to keep moving this agenda, and I'm looking forward. Hope it'd be a breakthrough before Tuesday that somebody that it just happened, because our kids can't afford to continue to miss these days. I know y'all are trying to get it negotiated, but if it's not, what another message to the parents, even though a lot of people will be frustrated, what we say to them?
I want to let people know that, first of all, the district and I believe the teachers have cleared their schedules, and they are negotiating 12, 18 hours a day from here through next Tuesday, through next Monday anyway. And so we're working on this, and we're trying to make sure that teachers don't walk out and they don't feel the need to do that. If you're feeling frustrated and want to be able to do something, reach out to your state legislature, your state senator or state representative, and talk about fully funding education in the state of Minnesota.
Because Director Ellis, because we always had a problem with funding for special ed anyway. It's always been behind, right?
Yeah, we call it a cross subsidy, where we have in Minneapolis, it's something like $60 million every year of services that we need to provide to students that we are not paid for. And so we have to take it from our general fund, and every student has access to. English language learners also is underfunded. The expectations of what we need to do costs more than the funding that we get from the state and the federal government. If we did not have that cross subsidy, we would not be looking at budget deficits every year. And so that's important for us. I mean, we're not even paid the amount that they're promised to pay, let alone the total cost of what it is to provide special education funding and English language services to our students. And so that's a big one. If you have time and you want to do something about making sure that your schools exist and are well funded, reach out to the state, because that's where we get our money from.
And then so after Tuesday, would they? I mean, because you can't talk about, because y'all are in negotiation right now, so
Right.
you can't talk about stuff. When will we get to learn a little bit more about what's going on, what the asks are? Because the public don't get to know what you're negotiating, so we don't know what the teachers are asking for, or what public school is saying. After Tuesday, do we get to know, or what happens with the negotiation after Tuesday, or y'all continue to negotiate?
We'll continue to negotiate until we come to a deal. And if there is a strike, we will continue to negotiate to come to a deal so that teachers will return to the school buildings and students will be able to be back learning. Right now, because we're in mediation with the union, the district and the union are in mediation, they're not public mediation, negotiations, but on the, I do believe that the union has been putting out press releases about what they've been asking for. There is a place on the school district website that also talks about the negotiations and where we are so far. And again, the district and the union do not disagree on the values and how important the people are in our buildings. It's just how do we pay for that, or how do we get the state to increase the amount of funding that they provide to education throughout the state. We are not the only district looking at a strike for those very reasons, but we're trying to avoid a strike right now so that learning is not disrupted again this year.
And have the governor weighed in, or he don't weigh in on this, or he has what's the weigh in from the governor or the mayor? This is all just a union in the school district, or nobody's else involved with that?
It is mostly, it's the negotiation is happening between the union and the district, but I have heard from the governor's office. They are paying attention. The governor's office on its own cannot provide the funding to the district without the support of the legislature. So we need a little bit of everybody, state level, the school district, everybody working on this. But they are paying, but I do know, I have heard from the governor's office, and they are following the progress on this to make sure that we don't have to strike, the teachers don't need to walk out, that we can get this resolved.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've heard directly from our school board chair, Kim Ellison, and we will continue to talk about it. And Director Ellison, if any message that we want to get out about the kids or activities, let's utilize this, and let's utilize the radio show to keep continue to talk. As this gonna be frustrating, not only for you guys, but it's gonna be frustrating for the parents that may not be able to go to work or things like that. I know that's a concern of yours.
Yes, we want to make sure that parents can continue to work, because that's important. They need to be able to provide for their family. Then thank you for the offer. If I hear of any if the teachers do end up going on strike, And we have resources for families. I'll make sure I get that to you so you can share that with community. So thank you.
And then by being the second, I had the young people on the last time, and I always say this, and I hope me and you can talk and make a commitment to come on here with other guests, but be that one that sit with me when we bring on people about education. That we're gonna do at least once a month, talking about education, or bringing your board members on with all these national board members. I mean, statewide board members, school board members, color, bringing them forward, just letting people see who they are, and I can work with you. But at least once every 2 months or something, that we talk about education on this platform right here.
Sounds great, Al. Thank you so much. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Director Ellison, Chairman Ellison, and thank you for out there listening. You just heard our school board chair. We're talking about the strike up here. We talked about many things that's going on, and she gave a lot of upfront answers. And I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. We gonna get it right. Everything takes time. But I'm happy that we came back. We didn't. Hey, when we went off, we didn't quit. We came back, and that's how we continue to tell truth to the people. That's what I'm gonna do with this platform, and we're gonna talk to our people about a variety of things. Today, education. The next one be about what we're doing with housing or things like that, or public safety, but really expressing stuff what the young people are doing, and keep trying to push them. When I say young, I'm talking about the 30, the 35, those people there, the under 30. That's what the young people task force is. People under 30 years old, but they talking to people 15, 14, 16, the ones I ain't gonna talk to, right? You ain't gonna, I mean, what a 15-year-old gonna say to me that shoot, the 30-year-old can't say nothing to me that I really listen, bring me something. But you, so that's just the way it is. But I'm supporting everything they try to do as young people. But you do it. Don't tell me. You do it. You tell me what you need from me to support it, and that's what I'm do. And I'm gonna thank the producers of this show. Anthony McMorris Rice and Antonisha Spears will be producing this show every week, and we're gonna bring you some live fire, and we're not gonna have technical difficulties every week. And I love what we're doing. I love this thing about educating our people. I'm gonna keep doing it. I thank you. We're gonna come back next week with another episode of Truth to the People. Peace.